person's a psychopath. Let's watch it.
So you've probably seen these photos of skeletal kids in Gaza on front pages, all over social media, even in a UNICEF ad. They've become the symbols of famine. But we decided to look into these photos and the stories behind them. And what we found is that in case after case, these kids were sick, but not just with malnutrition. In every instance, they were suffering with other conditions or illnesses like cystic fibrosis, cerebral palsy, and even traumatic head injuries.
I'm not sure what level of psychotic you are if you think that pointing out that they're not just starving children to death, they're starving disabled children to death is some kind of sign of virtue.
A few weeks ago, I started to notice that the same kids were appearing over and over again in coverage about Gaza, and they were being photographed by different photographers. We did something so simple, it's shocking that no other journalist bothered to do it.
I like how she used that word journalist right there. I think this is the journalist that read each and every one of Zohran Mamdani's tweets, recorded herself doing it, and called that journalism. Apart from that, I don't know. Maybe no other journalists were looking for a way to sane wash the fact that the Israelis are starving children to death. You sick freak.
So this is how we figured this out. Let's just take this example of Najwa Hussein Hajj, who appeared in CNN simply as suffering from severe malnutrition in Gaza City. So all we did is we took her name, we went to Google Translate, we took the Arabic spelling of her name, put that into Google, and pulled up a lot of local clips in which her parents were talking about what was really going on. And what we learned is that she has an esophagus condition, which is something that was even reported in English media.
Man, this is some real Woodward and Bernstein right here. I wonder why her parents didn't just take her to the doctor to prevent her from starving to death like she is. I wonder why they don't just take her to the hospital. Did you ask that? Did you translate that into Arabic and then put that into Google? Why there's no hospitals in Gaza? Did you know that Anne Frank died from typhus? Yeah, it had nothing to do with anything that was going on around her, her living conditions, or any of that. She just got typhus and died one day. Mysterious. Can you imagine if someone went through pictures of emaciated Holocaust survivors and researched and found out that one of them had diabetes, and maybe that's the reason he was in such bad shape? Or maybe one of them had leukemia, you know? It had nothing to do with the living conditions that they were forced into. It was because they stubbed their toe one day, like a year ago, and that's why they look like that. Can you imagine the outrage from these lunatics if someone was to do that? And it would be justified outrage. It would take a sick mother to even think to do something like this. And you're presenting it to the world like you're some kind of truth seeker. What in the is wrong with you?